figure 5.13 and 5.14, the break and continue statements. In the previous video, we introduced the break statement in the context of the switch multiple selection statement, and what we saw is that when we want to finish executing a particular case, we jump out of the switch statement by executing a break statement. If you don't do that, what happens is once you find a matching case, it simply executes that case's statements and then drops into the next case and starts executing that case's statements as well. Well, it turns out the break statement can also be used in a loop, and for the purpose of that we have a little mechanical example here where we have a for loop that's initially set up to count from 1 through 10, but if the count is equal to 5, we terminate the loop by executing the break statement. So the break statement can be used for performance reasons, for example, to get out of a loop quickly. However, there's always a structured way to get out of the loop as well, but in this case we obviously could have changed our condition to simply allow us to iterate from 1 through 4 instead of breaking out once the count value hits 5. So let me just go ahead and run this program so you can just see that indeed it only displays the values from 1 through 4, and then it breaks out of the loop once count hits 5, and you can see that at line 19 we displayed the value of count after the loop. Notice, by the way, that we declared count before the loop, not in the loop's header. Remember, if you declare the variable in the loop's header, in the for loop's header specifically, then the scope of that variable would have just been the for loop. So we would not have been able to output the count in that case. So break is used to get out of a loop early. In the case of a for, a while, or a do while statement, you can use the break statement in the body. Now, another feature that we have available to us is the so-called continue statement. And with the continue statement, what we're going to be able to do is stop the current iteration of a loop and move on to the next iteration. So here we have an example with a for loop, once again, that's going to count from 1 to 10, but if the count is equal to 5, we execute the continue statement, which says skip the rest of the loop's body, and in the case of a for statement, it jumps to the increment of the counter. Then we compare that value to the condition once again, and if it's still true, we execute the body. So in this case, we're going to count from 1 to 10, but when the count value is 5, we won't output it. So if I run this program, you can see in the output that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So clearly we did not output the value 5. Now in the case of a while or a do while statement, executing continue causes you to jump immediately to the condition in the loop, and again, in the case of a for statement, executing continue allows you to jump to the increment section, and then after the increment occurs, you go to the condition to see if the loop should continue executing.